Hi, welcome to our presentation on making a successful UCAS application for 2022 entry. Now, in this session, we're going to have a quick look at the UCAS application process, a brief look at how to choose a course in university, but the real focus of this is going to be a detailed guide to making your UCAS application, followed by your next steps after you've completed that application. Those of you who may have seen previous videos looking at the UCAS apply system will see very different screenshots to those that you see today. UCAS have updated the way in which you'll be applying from 2022 onwards. So it's important that we're able to give you some up-to-date information on that. And very much thank you to UCAS for providing some of the sample information that we can show you today. So the application process, you start by registering with UCAS. I'm going to talk about that through this session, then making your application online. You get your application sent. Obviously, meet any deadlines that are set by UCAS. If you're applying for Oxford, Cambridge, medicine, veterinary or dentistry, that deadline will be the 15th of October. And if you're applying for anything else, it's likely to be in January. UCAS have, at the point of recording this, which is in April 2021, have not yet confirmed the date. It's traditionally the 15th of January, but do keep your eyes open on that. So when you've sent your applications off, we as universities start to consider what to do with them. So whether to make you a conditional offer, i.e. you've got a certain amount of UCAS points or certain grades. It could well be an unconditional offer, particularly if you've already got those grades from previous study. And sadly, in some cases, we do have to decline learners. This kind of puts you into the spring when you'll be applying for your student finance. Very important to get that done. And when you'll be making your firm and insurance choices. So your firm choice should be the university that you really want to go to, course that you're very happy with, that you've done lots of research upon, and is broadly in line with either your predicted grades or the grades that you've already achieved. And the insurance choice, you should have everything that I've just said about the firm, but really it should have a lower points offer because it is your backup if you don't get into that firm choice. Top tip for you would be to have engaged extensively with those universities that you make your firm and insurance choice. So whether that is through virtual sessions or maybe as 2021 progresses, we can be looking more at face-to-face opportunities as well. So I'm going to put you through then to results in the summer, and hopefully you'll get confirmed onto your courses. If things go to plan, hopefully your firm choice, your insurance. If things don't quite work out, then there is clearing, and clearing is a system for matching students who've yet to get themselves onto a university and course with university and courses that have places. Okay, and as universities, we're very much here to support you through that, as are UCAS. I'm sure at the point of watching this, you're probably very much thinking about your researching of the universities and options that are out there, and I'll give you some advice. So think about what subject you want to do. Think about what it is you enjoy, what it is that you're good at. If you've got a particular career in mind, I think that's important to consider those. If you tick what it is that you enjoy, what it is you're good at for a subject, then that may well be something that you want to explore. And obviously, if you've got a very particular career, then there will be a certain pathway that you'll have to take. And I'm sure your research will very much help you with that. When you're thinking of the types of course that are out there, it's important to remember that the courses will vary from university to university. So let's say history at Newman will be a different course to that at another institution. So it's important that you read the units and modules carefully when you're considering that, because they will have different entry requirements and there'll be different things on offer there. So single honours is where you'll just do the one subject and those different units within that, and you'll find that in prospectuses and on course guides as well. Joint honours is where you'll do two subjects together. There may be programs where there'll be a fairly extensive work placement. At Newman, all of our 3-year undergraduate programs have a work placement module, I believe, in the second year. And then we have foundation pathways. So you have foundation year, where perhaps if you haven't quite got the entry requirements to move on to the traditional undergraduate program, where you can do an additional year to build up your skills in both the subject and also things like your study skills for hopefully progressing on to that. And then we have foundation degrees, which are equivalent of level 4 and level 5. So the equivalent of the first 2 years of a normal undergraduate program, and also the equivalent of a HND, which some of you may have studied at college. We also offer top-up years, so if you've already got your foundation degree from elsewhere and you need to do that final year to get to the full undergraduate program, we do offer those in quite a number of our subjects, so please do check our prospectus and course guides online. When we think about where to study, I think it's important that you do lots of research on that. Whether that's through virtual sessions or whether it's as time goes on, you're able to actually come and visit us as universities. For some people, it may be that you want to stay local. here in the West Midlands, there are quite a range of universities, all of different sizes, all very different really in how we present ourselves. At Newman, we are probably the smallest of the providers within the Birmingham area. But do come and have a look around. We have all the facilities that you would expect of those bigger institutions: the lecture theatres, the library, the restaurant, the coffee shops, the sports centre. Do come and have a look. For some people, you may want to move away from home. It may be that you're moving to a different part of the country. Or it could be that within the same city, you think, actually, I just want to go and stay in halls of residence. That is, of course, always an option for you to explore. And for some students, it may well be that you're looking to perhaps go and move abroad. So when it comes to UCAS and how we're going to complete our application, I'm going to talk you through these screenshots that will hopefully enable you to make a successful application for 2022. So first off, we have to register for an account. So you need to go to ucas.com and click sign in, which is in the top right hand corner. You then choose register. At that point, it will take you through to a registration system. Please note that some of these slides, the design that you'll see may vary, because UCAS have said that they will make them quite topical as we go on through the year. So perhaps the images you'll see won't be quite these. So when you register, there is a short form to complete. Again, remember, it is going to be an application you're going to be completing. So capital letters for the start of your first name, capital letters for the start of your last name. You need to present yourself in the best possible light. Of course, remember to make sure that password is memorable to yourself, and don't make it so that it's easily guessable by other people. When you've done that, UCAS will email you a code to verify your email address. I'm sure we're all very familiar with this now, with the various things that we sign up for. So they'll send you that and make sure that you do verify that within the 5 minutes that it expires, and that will prove that it's you. So once you've registered, UCAS will ask you a few questions, like when is it you want to start studying, where it is that you live, what is it you think about studying, so they can tailor the information that you see within their UCAS hub. If you're thinking of 2022 and applying to university, do make sure that you click that year. When it asks you about choosing the level of study, I think the majority of you applying through UCAS will be looking at undergraduate, so perhaps you're looking at your BA, your BSc. It'll be undergraduate that you would press there. And at this point as well, you can also choose to get information on apprenticeships and conservatories as well, which can be quite interesting for some people as well. And UCAS will ask you where it is that you live, so they can direct you to some geographically specific information as well. You can, within your preferences on UCAS, you can choose what information you want to receive. If you want to receive tailored information about universities and courses, select subjects that you're interested in. I think it'll allow you to pick up to 3, and you can change these preferences at any point as well. Then when you're finished, if you scroll right to the bottom, you can hit the Create Account button. Then you'll be making a start on your application proper. So to start your application, you'll be on the UCAS hub and you'll click on the Your Applications tile. It will be visible from the 18th of May 2021 for students who are looking to study in 2022. But I would just want to note that whilst you can complete your application, you can't actually send that until the earliest of 7th of September 2021. So please do bear that in mind. You need to update your preferences, so anything that you put earlier on about the subjects you're interested in, or any of those other preferences, you can go in and edit those. If perhaps you decide that you want to take a year out and you're looking to apply for the following year for university, then we can do that as well by updating our preferences within the hub. If you're someone who's currently in study through a school, college or exam centre, you would be linking your application to them through something called a buzzword. So when it asks you this question, then the answer would be yes. If you say no, that isn't a problem. You can apply as an individual candidate, and I'm aware people perhaps coming back to learning will be doing that as well. And what they'll ask you for at that point will be for some additional information about who'll be providing your academic reference. But if you are applying through a school or college, this buzzword will normally be distributed by your sixth form team, careers team, UCAS lead. It does vary from institution to institution. So you enter the buzzword and just check that the details are correct, and that will link your application to your school, college or provider so they can track your progress with the application, but also they can provide you with support, including crucially adding in your reference. Once the application has been linked to your centre, it will ask you to select a group. Now, I know in many schools and colleges, they will kind of direct you to what group you need to go to. It may be a form group, it may be a subject area. If you're unsure, I would just suggest speak to the people who are in charge of UCAS within your institution. You can put quite a handy tool in there called an application overview. The homepage really where you'll see all the sections that you need to complete. What's crucial to remember is you don't need to complete the application all in one go. You can log in and out at any time until you've finished. And it gives you now a sort of percentage complete marker, which is quite good and perhaps quite motivating for some people to see where they're at in terms of completing their application. Second section within the overview is your profile. Very much information about you. It will show you any sections that are complete, it will show you sections in progress, and it will show you sections that you haven't started yet. And you don't have to step through these in any particular order. Some are shorter to complete than others, and you'll see as we walk through this today. So we'll start by looking at the personal details. Some of these will already be input from the data you put when you registered with the UCAS Hub. Throughout the application, anything marked with a red asterisk is a mandatory field, saying you've got to complete. So it won't allow you to save each section if you haven't completed that field. And you'll also see a circle with a white question mark in. And that is a prompt, really. If you need some help, if you press that, it'll give you an indication of the kind of things that you need to complete. Crucially, for every section, when you get to the bottom, there's a box, and you see here in green, mark this section is complete. You need to tick that and press save this section when that section is done. Okay, it's important that you do that because otherwise the system won't recognise that you've completed it and you won't be able to send. But do remember to press save this section at the end of each time that you've been in it doing some editing. Okay, so on the left-hand side of your application, there'll be a list of different links. So for the different sections you're looking at, if they're in green with a tick, that means you've completed them. If there is a little circle with a half moon, that means it's in progress. If there's nothing next to it, there's no circle, there's no tick, that means it's a section that you haven't yet started. So let's look at the contact and residency details. It's important that you should provide either a landline or probably more realistically a mobile number in this section. Area I wanted to point to was nominated access, nominee access. In these days of GDPR, UCAS can't just speak to anyone on your behalf. It has to be someone that's nominated within your form. I would perhaps suggest parent, brother, sister, partner, someone that you would be happy to speak to UCAS about your application on your behalf. So it's important that you do probably indicate someone there. And it's quite helpful, particularly perhaps as you come towards results days, if perhaps you're tied up on the phone or dealing with something else, if you're with clearing, someone else can perhaps speak to UCAS on your behalf. In terms of residency details, it'll ask you, is your home address the same as your postal address? If you press no, it will ask you some additional questions to put in that address where you are living. Employment, if you've had any employment, you can list this within the form. We know not everyone will have something to enter there, but regardless, even if there's nothing in, you do have to mark the section as complete. And it will add any employment in chronological order, so you don't need to sit and add them in the dates that you've had the job. It will automatically sort that out for you, which is quite clever. Your education section, this is the one that I think will, apart from perhaps the personal statement, will take you the longest to complete. And the top tip from us would be, for anything you've previously studied, dig out your results certificates, results slips for those. Get those together at the earliest possible opportunity, because it'll have all the information that you will need on there to be able to input in here. And it's also important to know what it is that perhaps you're currently studying if you're presently in studies, because you'll need to add that in for your referee to be able to add a predicted grade into your reference. So first of all, you need to add into details of where you've studied or are studying, and you add your place of education. It will ask you for a unique learner number. Those of you who are currently in study, if you speak to your current school, college, sixth form, they will be able to give you that. You may already have it on some documentation you have, but they will be able to give you that. If you haven't got one, and we know some people won't, then of course you can leave that blank. As you're adding in your place of education, you type the name of where you studied or currently study, and when you find the centre, just click on the name and it'll automatically populate the exam centre number. You need to pop in where you started and when you finished as well. And if you're currently studying, you need to just pop in the month when you're due to finish. That's quite important. The system is really useful. It will give you some warning messages. You can't say you've attended 2 or more places of study full-time during the same date range, so it'll flash that up in red. And likewise, if there's anything else that it needs to make you aware of, it will normally flash that up in blue. So that's information that you need to be aware of. So perhaps if you've indicated you didn't receive any qualifications from a particular centre. So then when it comes to adding in the qualifications, you do that for each centre that you've got. So some of you I know have done your GCSEs, somewhere different to perhaps where you've done your level 3s. I would perhaps say start with your lowest level of qualification and work through adding those in. All the information that you'll need will be on your certificates or your result slips. So the grade you got, the date you got them, and crucially the exam board as well. It's really straightforward to do that. If you're uncertain of anything, then of course, do have that conversation. If you are currently studying something, then when it gets to results, you put that as pending. It means you haven't got it yet, but it'll prompt your referee to put in a predicted grade for you. Okay. Nationality details. If you're a UK national, this screen is what you'll see within the system. UCAS have made it quite clever now. They've in their update of the system that you only see the information that you need to, whereas before it was quite a long form. If you were born in the UK but have a different nationality, it will ask you some additional questions, which will help universities and colleges in determining eligibility, things like visa applications. And there's some possible combinations here, but UCAS will only show the relevant fields depending on your answers. And likewise, if you weren't born in the UK, it gives you a separate thing to fill out here. If you're not already in the UK, you just need to pop in the first of the month that you plan to arrive. Okay. If you need a visa, you need to pop that in as well. It's a very straightforward form to fill out. If there are any questions, obviously speak to people in your school or college, or indeed contact UCAS. They are certainly very helpful with that. In terms of supporting information, okay, it will ask you a range of different things here. Again, as I said at the start, anything that's mandatory is a red asterisk, so you need to complete those, but you do have the option of I don't know or prefer not to say for some of the answers here. Okay, you don't have to declare a disability if you don't want to. You can select no disability. Information used, this is from UCAS, information completed here is not used to make a decision on your application. It's only shared with those involved in supporting you or making the arrangements for support. So for instance, the student support team here at Newman, if you flag up that you have additional needs or things that you need support with, they will contact you if you pop this onto your UCAS form. Asks you now about English language skills. So if English isn't your first or primary language, then UCAS will ask you for a TOEFL or IELTS registration number, but you only need to enter the reference numbers if you've been assigned one and you know it. Finance and funding, of course, this opens up a whole other discussion, and we have presentations on student finance that we have on offer here at Newman. If you select your main source of funding for your studies as UK, Channel Islands, Isle of Man, or EU Student Financial Services, it will then go on to ask you underneath student support arrangements. And what this is your local authority, so the people in which your household does pay or would pay council tax to. Okay, that is what it's looking for there. And you see there's a useful link here from UCAS, ucas.com/finance. Some really good resources on there as well, and they'll be able to help you if you're stuck on that section. Diversity and inclusion section. So you'll only see these questions if you have a UK home or postal address. It's only shared with universities and colleges once you've secured a place, and it does not influence any decision making. It's just used to ensure that applications are treated fairly. There's 2 mandatory fields, but you have the option to respond with I prefer not to say as well. So you'll be able to step through that as part of this application. If you've completed any activities in preparation for higher education, so it could be webinar programs, it could be masterclasses, you can add those in as well. Just to showcase things that you've done in preparation and in research for university. I'll ask you a question about parental education. So do your parents, step-parents or guardians have any higher education qualifications such as degree, diploma or certificate of higher education? It does ask you that, and it will ask you the occupational background of the parent, step-parent or guardian who earns the most. This is for statistical analysis purposes with UCAS. Personal statement section that will probably take you the longest because you'll be preparing this offline in a word process. You won't be typing this directly into the UCAS application as such. So I can give you some guidance here. We do a more lengthy personal statement video guide and webinar sessions that we offer as well, which I'd encourage you to have a look at as well. So what is the personal statement? Well, it's your opportunity to tell us as universities about your suitability for the course that you hope to study, for you to demonstrate the enthusiasm, passion and commitment for the subject you want to study, and ensure that you stand out from the crowd. So you've got 4,000 characters or 47 lines. Okay, so you are limited there on what it is that you can tell us. So you're going to want to evidence that you've researched the course, that you've got passion for it, that you can work well independently, but you're also a team player. What's your motivation and commitment? What's an awareness of what it is you're good at, what it is you want to develop at university, perhaps what it is you want to do in the future. I would encourage you to do this in a word processor. You'll be writing several drafts, and I think it's important to be able to perhaps reflect on what we've done already and also to be able to make those changes quickly. Question we frequently get asked is, 4,000 characters or 47 lines include breaks for paragraphs? Yes, they do. And we would certainly encourage you to write in paragraphs. On our website, we have a personal statement guide. I know UCAS also have some really good materials as well that you may want to use as part of completing that personal statement. How to structure it? There's lots of guides out there, but personally, I would break it down into 4 sections. So you've got an introduction, where you're very much telling us what it is you want to study, setting out the stall, perhaps in the first 5 to 8 lines. Then we'll have paragraph or paragraphs where you're really telling us about your suitability for the course, things that you've done, things that you've excelled in, things that perhaps you've got experience in. You'll throw that in, and that could be across 1, 2, 3 paragraphs potentially, bringing in any current studies or past studies as well, potentially any work experience. Look at other achievements. And people will often say, do I need to list all my hobbies and interests? And my answer to that would probably be no. I would only list them if they are relevant or have transferable skills relating to that degree that you're looking to study in the future. And then we wrap up with a conclusion. So at this point, you're probably on about line 42, line 43, so the last 5 lines or so. Essentially, your conclusion is a summary of what you've told us prior in your personal statement. Some do's and don'ts. Do very much mention your future aspirations. I think it's important for us to get a handle on what it is you want to do in the future. When you're writing drafts, I think it's important to get feedback from others, whether it's advisors, parents, partners, employers. Do get other people to read it. And my top tip for proofreading would be go and sit in a quiet room somewhere and read it out loud. You'll find clumsy spelling mistakes. You'll find where you've used the same word about 5 times in the same sentence. And write it early and sort of edit it down over a period of perhaps a few weeks. If you're invited for interview, do take it with you, and be prepared to answer any questions about it as well. Some don'ts. I would be wary of humour. You are writing, a formal piece here, so I wouldn't be putting jokes into your personal statement. Plagiarism, really important. UCAS check all of their statements against basically everything they've got digitally, which goes back at least 15 years to my knowledge. So do make sure that you aren't plagiarising someone else's statement. It is a personal statement. We want to know about you. We don't want to know about your friend or someone else. Okay. Don't mention one institution. If you're applying to 4 or 5 different universities, we can only see your application to us. So you don't need to put at the end, I'm really looking forward to studying at Newman University necessarily. Obviously if you are, that's brilliant, but other universities will say that and think, actually, I'm not sure this person is 100% keen on coming to us. And be wary of spellings, punctuation. If you're using a word processor, yes, it has a spell checker, but it's only as good as the person who programmed it. So be mindful of that and be wary that your sort of dictionary is set to English United Kingdom and not English United States. But for me, I would sit and actually read it out loud. That will help you iron out any mistakes and bugs that you may have. So when you complete that, perhaps in a word processor, you'll copy and paste that over into the personal statement section within the application. And only when you're happy with that do you mark it as complete. So you'll see here it will have a character and line count as well. You can do that in word processors. They will have that facility for you when you're doing your drafting. You complete an application, so you're going to want to tell us actually what it is that you want to apply for. And this is really straightforward. You just search through, type the name of the institution that you want to apply for, and then it will only list the courses that they offer, which is really straightforward to complete. Certainly, going back many years when they're paper applications, you have to have all the codes to hand, whereas it's very straightforward and very user-friendly. Some courses may, of course, require you to disclose any criminal convictions, and you'll see some information about that. And UCAS will only show this question if your course requires it. I think that's quite important for you to know. It's a maximum of 5 choices on the form, and choice restrictions do still apply. So you can apply to a maximum of 4 courses in any one of medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, or veterinary science. Once all your choices are in, of course, don't forget to mark the section as complete. It will also show you if some courses have extra admission tests or assessments as well. And UCAS will show those to you in blue text. So you remember me saying earlier on that a blue text is giving you extra information there. So it's important to keep your eye on that when you've added those choices in. So when it comes to submit your application, there's 4 steps. The application must be complete. So you've got to show 100% in every area before pressing the submit button on the right-hand side. But then show you the full application. You can download that as a PDF. To help you check it. I would encourage you to do that. Make sure you've got it saved, so you've got that information to hand. When you're happy with that, you go to the bottom, press accept and proceed, or if you need to go back and make changes, you hit return to application. UCAS will then ask you to update your preferences, so do read through and make sure that everything's correct as you need it to be at that point. Once you've read through the terms and conditions, of course, make sure you read through those. You need to again press accept and proceed. At that point, you'll be getting ready to press pay and submit your application. So most people will be paying by card. And if you're applying for 5 courses, it'll be £26.50 for the 2022 academic year. If you're applying for just the 1 course at 1 university, it's £22 when we're completing that. So you need to put your card details in here. When you've paid and submitted your application, it will go to your school or college. If you're applying through a school or college, for them to check, and they then submit it to UCAS. If you're applying as an individual, it does go straight off through UCAS to the universities in question. So your next steps, when your application's sent, you'll go through the UCAS hub to the product called Track, where you can follow the progress of your application. You can see your choices and personal information. You can view any offers. And this is where you'll be replying to those offers. So remember earlier on, I was talking about your firm insurance choice. This is where you'll be doing that. And it will see the information as it comes in from the universities in question. When you've got decisions on all your choices, that's when you'll be making those firm and insurance decisions that we were on about earlier on. Okay. So it's important that you do that within any time frame specified by UCAS. If perhaps you've used all your 5 choices and had no offers, then between February and July, you can add in extra choices for consideration 1 at a time through Track, through a system called Extra. And of course, we have clearing that I spoke about earlier on. So if you're applying after the 30th of June, if you've received no offers, if you've declined them all, or don't meet the conditions, you will be put through into clearing. And as I said, clearing is a great process for matching universities who've got vacancies on some of their courses with students who've yet to find a university. Normally clearing opens early in July. People think it opens on results days in August, but actually it's early in July that will open for you to add a clearing choice in through the UCAS hub. So hopefully that gives you a really good sort of overview of how to be applying for UCAS for 2022. There's always ways to keep in touch with us here at Newman, whether that's open days, virtual open days, our Discover Newman website, our webinar program that we run. We normally have at least 1 session running a week. We've got some great videos and information on our study section on our website, and there's the opportunity to book to come and visit us for campus tours over the course of the coming weeks, months and years. So you can do it through those links here. It's been a pleasure to speak to you today. Good luck with your application. Thank you.